Welcome to the University Housing Maxient Incident Report Submission video. This video will walk you through the steps to submit an incident report through the Maxient portal for University Housing incidents. The first step is to navigate to report.fsu.edu, where you will find a link to the Maxient Incident Report form. Once you have reached the report website, you'll be presented with a number of options. It is very important that for all university housing staff or any incidents occurring in university housing facilities that the Report on Campus Housing Incident form is used. While you will see a number of options presented here that may address the incident that you are documenting, all university housing staff members will need to use this form to ensure that all incidents are routed to the correct university housing staff members. Once you've selected the Report on Campus Housing Incident form, you will be directed to the Housing Incident Report form shown here. Once you have reached this form, the first thing you will need to do is authenticate yourself within the system. All resident assistants and university housing night staff have been entered as authenticated users. Above the Your Name field in background information, you will see an icon and a prompt noting for you to log in. Once you have logged in using your FSU credentials, your FSU ID and password, same as what you use for email, you will be redirected back to this form, and you will see this note that you are currently authenticated as said user. If you notice that your username is not correct, you will need to log out using the Not You link, or possibly try another browser depending on if you are continuing to encounter issues. It is very important that if you consistently encounter issues, you speak with your head staff so we can navigate what the issue actually is. Once you have authenticated, you may begin filling in the background information section, including your full name, position and title, whether or not you're a resident assistant, a night staff, a receptionist, or head staff. Please enter your phone number, your FSU email, that would be your @myFSU email. And then finally, you will proceed to the next questions, which are very important to the incident report form. The first of these questions is the nature of this report. As we stated before, the report.fsu.edu website includes a number of different options for submitting forms for certain types of incidents, including Title IX sexual assault and other instances that you may encounter. While yes, you may encounter these in the residence halls, while we only use one form, we allow you to select the nature of this report from these forms. You will see that there are general incidents that you can report, roommate issues, student concerns, health and safety inspections, maintenance concerns in your building, again, Title IX and sexual assault, as well as an option to submit a test IR for training purposes. For this video, we will utilize the test IR option to ensure that we are not clogging the system with any additional incident reports. The date of the incident is very important, and you will notice that it is a required field. Maxient does use a specific date form entry type, as you will see, year, then month, then day, and to make it easier on yourselves, they have included an option to simply open a calendar and select the specific date that the incident took place on. Be sure that if you are documenting an incident and it occurred on the day prior, i.e. before midnight, that you are selecting the correct date. Even though you are submitting the form the next day, you'll need to make sure that the time you actually began addressing the incident is listed as the date of the incident. Enter the time either by selecting from the drop-down list as shown here, or by simply manually entering into the field. The location of the incident is also very important. This is the residence hall or that the incident took place in, and you can select from the drop-down list shown here. For the purposes of this video, we will utilize Reynolds Hall as the location, and we will also locate a specific location. For this purpose, room 132. This field is important as in the event that an incident takes place in a stairwell, a hallway, or possibly a common space that doesn't necessarily have a room number, you can be as descriptive as possible. The next section we will encounter on this form is the involved party section. These are the students that actually were documented in the incident that you addressed. What you will notice is that you can select a student and search for them utilizing the binocular icon shown next to name. Please note that this icon will only appear when you have authenticated yourself as a user in the system. Select the icon, and you can search by a specific name. You may also search by their student ID number, specific housing location on campus, or a room number. Once you've hit search, a list of the students matching the criteria you search for will appear below. You can verify their identity by first name, last name, their photo should show up, or by where they live on campus. To select the students, simply hit select, and all of their information will populate into the appropriate fields. The role field is one field that will not be generated at first, so you will need to select the appropriate role from the drop-down list. You are presented with 4 options including alleged, building, complainant, or witness, and more often than not, you will utilize alleged for any incident reports you are submitting. Let's say, however, that you were going to submit an incident report for a building rather than a specific person. So you're documenting maintenance, and you don't have a person involved, but there is a building involved. You will actually treat the building as though they are a person involved in the incident. To submit a maintenance concern for a specific building, you will only need to utilize the name field, as well as the ID field, as well as role for building. So let's say that rather than a person involved in this incident, the building, Reynolds Hall, was involved as a maintenance concern. You will always need to use the name of the building and the word hall following, so Reynolds Hall. For ID, you only need to use the first name of the building, or the name Reynolds. For buildings such as Reagan's, Wildwood, and DeGraff that have multiple buildings as part of the same complex, please do not utilize the building number. We only need to know the name of the building and the word hall. So if an incident took place in Reagan's Building 2 that was maintenance related, rather than saying Reagan's Building 2, you would just say Reagan's Hall, and for ID number, Reagan's. Be sure to select the role building, and the system will make sure that the incident report is filed correctly. The next section is the question section, and this includes 2 that are very important. The first being the narrative. The narrative is the descriptor of what you encountered and how you dealt with the situation. Narratives are the most important part of an incident report and need to be taken seriously. Please make sure that you are taking your time, being as specific and detailed as possible when crafting your narrative, and if you need to, you can always type your narrative in an additional form such as Microsoft Word and copy and paste it over to this form. Please make sure that if you do use this step, using Microsoft Word or another word processor first, that you do not save that file. The narrative has a couple different points that we want to make sure to include here as a reminder whenever submitting. Please make sure that the opening sentence includes the date, time, and location of the incident, as well as how you came upon the incident. Your narrative should always be written in the third person, and you should avoid using any pronouns when writing incident reports. This is especially important when situations have more than one resident, as using pronouns can be confusing for the person reading the incident report. Be sure to include any observations leading up to and throughout the incident, the sights and sounds and smells that you may encounter, and be sure that you are including all student names in the narratives section, especially if you are identifying them as alleged individuals in the involved parties section. Be sure that you are documenting events in chronological order, not skipping around between when something happened and when it didn't. Make sure that you are describing the location and the number of policy violations, as well as describing each violation in your narrative. Describe behaviors that might indicate an altered state. You can't simply say someone was intoxicated, as this could be seen as subjective. Utilize specifics such as they were stumbling, they had slurred speech, and they smelled strongly of alcohol. And be sure to document all verbal exchanges using quotes from the residents as well as your own replies, especially if they are rude or non-compliant. While sometimes it may be uncomfortable to restate what somebody said, especially if they used hurtful or foul language, it is very important that if that occurred, you are documenting it using quotations in the narrative, as head staff will likely follow up, or there may be additional charges in relation to some of the language that is used. Finally, if FSU PD responds to an incident, they will often indicate a case number associated with that incident. This happens 9 times out of 10, but there always is that one odd occurrence where it doesn't. If FSU PD does respond and does issue you a case number, if you haven't already put it in the narrative, or even if you have, you need to ensure that the FSU PD number goes into the final spot in the questions section. FSU PD report numbers are always 8-digit numbers, 4 numbers separated by a hyphen, and then another 4, and often it will start with 17 or the year that it is. Finally, the last section of the incident reporting form is the supporting documentation section. You will note that it allows you to upload files. For most purposes, you may not necessarily use the supporting documentation field, but your residents may, especially if they have screenshots or pictures of something that has happened to them. If you are ever concerned about taking a picture or feel that taking a picture of damage or something that is seen on your floor is necessary, please make sure that you are contacting head staff on call, as they may request to take the pictures themselves rather than having you take them with your personal device. Once you have included all supporting documentation, and once all the additional fields are completed on the form, especially ones marked as required, you will go ahead and submit the report. By clicking Submit Report, you will be finalizing the report, and you will not be able to edit the report after that time, so make sure that you go back through the form before clicking Submit. Once you have clicked Submit, you will be given a confirmation screen by Maxient, including an Maxient IR confirmation number. Once you have received this confirmation number, you know for sure that your incident report has been submitted to the housing staff. For night staff, please note that you may need to take note of this Maxient IR report number, as you may need to pass this along to the night staff supervisor. This video, while not all-encompassing, does show you how to utilize this form. Remember that by utilizing Test IR, training only, as the nature of your incident, you can practice submitting incident report forms if you feel that you still need additional assistance or additional training on this form. Please make sure that you do not submit other incident reports if you are simply practicing. If you have any additional questions, you may also ask your head staff or Nicole DiBartolo, the Program Coordinator for Conduct with University Housing. Should you have any additional questions after viewing this video, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We hope you found this video informative and actually explaining how to utilize the Housing Incident Report form. Thank you.